أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين. سبحانك ربنا لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم لا سهل إلا ما جعلته سهلا، وأنت إن شئت تجعل الحزن سهلا بفضلك وكرمك يا أكرم الأكرمين. Good morning all my dear students. Peace be upon you all. السلام الله عليكم ورحمة وبركاته. أهلا وسهلا بكم في درس جديد من دروس اللغة الإنجليزية هنا from
صوتي مقطع
شعاع
صراحة.
المعرفة Secondary Schools. Today inshallah we are going to discuss a new lesson which is entitled Writing, page number 62, New Student Book. Page 62 New Student Book and 42 New Workbook. Our unit entitled I Wonder What Happened, Writing Exercise, 22nd of March 2021. اوكي يا شباب. Mega goal 2, the first stage of secondary. This is Mr. Abdul Salah from Shawal Marfa Secondary Schools. Our lesson today is about writing, right? Okay, let's start. Student book will start first. Unit number 4, page number 62. I wonder what happened. Writing. This is our lesson today. The objectives of the lesson. Number 1, at the end of this session, the students will be able to. بنهاية هذا الدرس سوف نكون قادرين على find the topic sentence of each paragraph. This number 1, find the topic sentence of each paragraph. هنقوم بإيجاد أو استخراج الجملة الرئيسية لكل فقرة. Identify the different stages that remote controls went through. 3, search for a voyage or an expedition. Number 5, write a description of a vessel, voyage, expedition. Now, let's open your student book. At the same page, we have a text. We want to read it. As you see here, this is a table in your page. In the student book, exercise number A, how many remote controls do you have at home? Again, how many remote controls do you have at home? What does it mean remote controls يا شباب؟ كم عدد الريموت كنترول؟ Do you know the meaning؟
اللي هو الريموت ست حق التلفزيون.
الريموت جهاز التحكم عن بعد، أداة التحكم عن بعد في التلفزيون والستيريو والراديو وما إلى ذلك. What kind of devices are they used for? What kind of device are they used for? ما هي أنواع الأجهزة التي تستخدم من أجلها تلك الريموت؟ Read the article. اقرأ النص الموجود في منتصف الصفحة and identify the different stages and the remote controls when through. ثم بعد ذلك نقوم بتعريف the different stages المراحل المختلفة. The remote control went through التي تدخل فيها الريموت جهاز التحكم عن بعد. Number one, we have to describe four things. Years or decade عدد السنوات. Years, decade. What is the meaning of decade يا شباب؟ عقد، وهو يتكون من 10 سنوات. العقد يتكون من 10 سنوات. People involved. الفئة التي يشملها main characteristics. الصفات الشخصية الأساسية. Functions الوظائف. Right? Okay. So let's go to this text. Our text is here. The daily reading journal. Section number A. This is the text in your student book, page number 62. Please notice there in your book. And now, I need or I want many students to read. Everyone will read one paragraph. So please raise your hand. Omar Saeed, number one. Okay, Omar, we'll start with you. Who is the second one? Who's the next? مين اللي هيقرأ معنا التالي يا شباب؟ عمر سعيد, go ahead. The daily reading journal. عمر تسمعني؟ Do you hear me?
أيوة يا أستاذ. أقرأ
Okay.
القطعة الأولى بس.
Yeah, the first paragraph. Go ahead.
طيب. We tend think of remote controls new devices. However, that we now take for granted at home or at work has been developed over a very long time.
We tend to. وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. We tend to means ننوي أن. Think of remote controls new device. هذا الجهاز العجيب الجديد. However, بالرغم من what we know take for granted at home or at work has been developed over a very long time. تم تطوير هذا الجهاز منذ زمن بعيد أو فترة طويلة. Okay. Number two. Who's there? Who want to read يا شباب? Reading. This is a writing text, but we will have to read the text first. قراءة يا شباب. مين هيقرأ الباراجراف الثاني؟ جميل باتي. تفضل يا جميل.
أي تستاذ daily reading ولا؟
One. From one.
One of the earliest examples of remote control was developed in 1898 by Nikola Tesla.
Yeah.
Who demonstrated a radio-controlled boat to the public during an electrical exhibition at Madison Square Garden in 1903. Leonardo Torres Quevedo presented the Telecano at the Paris Academy of Science. It consisted of a robot that executed commands transmitted by electromagnetic waves
Mhm.
and was a pioneer in the field
Mhm.
of remote control. The first remote controlled model airplane flew in 1932, and by the late 1930s, several radio manufacturers offered remote controls for some of their more exclusive models.
Exclusive models. Okay.
The first
Until this
television
point,
remote.
okay, we want to stop here at this point. We want to translate what are the vocabulary there. Develop. Thank you so much for your good reading, يا جميل. And now, what is the meaning of develop? Develop تم تنميتها أو تطويرها. During أثناء أو خلال. An electrical exhibition معرض للأجهزة
معرض
الكهربائية.
إلكتروني.
Yeah, that's right. Consisted of. Sorry,
أصر
consisted of. Hmm?
أصر
The other one on. Insisted on. أصر على. But here consisted of. Consist of يتكون من أو يتألف من. Okay? Electromagnetic waves الموجات الكهربائية. Exclusive models أمثلة أو نماذج حصرية. Exclusive means حصري. Right? Okay. The
كمل.
second part. Okay يا جميل. You wanted to complete.
The first television remote control was developed in 1950. It was called Lazy Bones and and was connected to the television set by a wireless, and then an ultrasound
Ultrasound.
remote were developed in the mid 50s, but
Yeah.
neither was reliable. More sophisticated television remote controls were introduced in the late 70s, but they had limited number of functions, sometimes as few as three. Next channel, previous channel, and volume of remote controls with a wider range of functions were finally launched in the 80s and become an immediate success. For the first time viewers no longer watch programs just because
Yeah.
they did not want to get up to change the channel. They could also change surf during commercials or turn the sound off.
Thank you.
By the
نتوقف هنا. نتوقف هنا يا جميل ونقوم بترجمة الجزء السابق. Okay. Sit by a wire. This device اللي هو الريموت كنترول يا شباب. Sit by a wire كان متصلا بأجهزة التلفزيون عن طريق a wire cable أو سلك. Okay. But neither was reliable. Reliable?
يعتمدون عليه
Sorry, again.
يعتمدون عليه
Reliable يعتمد عليه أو شيء حقيقي. Limited. They had a limited number. كان لديهم رقما محدودا of functions للوظائف.
وظائف.
Wider range معدل أو مستوى. Wider واسع. Serve during يقوم بالتصفح أثناء.
خلال.
Yeah. Okay. By the early 2000s,
By the early 2000s, the number of remote controls increased, along with the number of electronic devices. Consumers needed a remote for each device. This led to the development of universal remote controls that you can that can be used with different devices. Imagine controlling everything around you with the touch of a button uh, on one single remote control. It is wonderful or scary.
Thank you. Thank you يا جميل. Well done. Excellent يا ولد. Wonderful or scary. Okay. Consumers. What does it mean? Consumer means المستهلكون.
مستهلك.
المستهلكون حق من يشتري الأجهزة. The development. What does it mean?
التطور.
التطور أو التنمية. Development means تطور or تنمية. Develop يطور أو ينمي. Imagine تخيل،
تخيل.
يتصور، يفترض. Touch of a button. Touch of a button اللي هو زر اللمس أو التلامس. لم يكن بأزرار ولكن كان button اللي هو الزر with touch بالتلامس بعد ذلك. Wonderful. One signal أو single يا شباب. One single remote اللي هي إيش؟ One single remote جهاز الريموت تحكم عن بعد الفردي. It is a wonderful. Is it a wonderful? Wonderful يعني إيش؟ رائع أو جميل. Or scary. هل كان ذلك رائعا؟ Or scary أو مخيفا. أوكي؟ تمام. نذهب إلى الجزء الآخر من النص.
Page 62. 10. Writing.
The Daily Reading Journal.
We tend to think of remote controls as new devices.
صوت واضح يا شباب؟
However, what we now take for granted at home or at work has been developed over a very long time. One of the earliest examples of remote control was developed in 1898 by Nikola Tesla, who demonstrated a radio-controlled boat to the public during an electrical exhibition at Madison Square Garden. In 1903, Leonardo Torres Quevedo presented the Telekino at the Paris Academy of Science. It consisted of a robot that executed commands transmitted by electromagnetic waves and was a pioneer in the field of remote control. The first remote-controlled model airplane flew in 1932, and by the late 1930s, several radio manufacturers offered remote controls for some of their more exclusive models. The first television remote control was developed in 1950. It was called Lazy Bones and was connected to the television set by a wire. A wireless and then an ultrasound remote control were developed in the mid-50s, but neither was reliable. More sophisticated television remote controls were introduced in the late 70s, but they had a limited number of functions, sometimes as few as 3. Next channel, previous channel, and volume off. Remote controls with a wider range of functions were finally launched in the 80s and became an immediate success. For the first time, viewers no longer watched programs just because they did not want to get up to change the channel. They could also channel surf during commercials or turn the sound off. By the early 2000s, the number of remote controls increased, along with the number of electronic devices. Consumers needed a remote for each device. This led to the development of universal remote controls that can be used with different devices. Imagine controlling everything around you with the touch of a button on one single remote control. Is it wonderful or scary?
Okay, let's go to the second part. Here, another table. Years. Okay يا شباب. years or decade. الجدول موجود أمامنا. You have to take the information from the text. المعلومات هناخدها من النص الموجود اللي احنا سمعناه وقمنا بتفصيله. Years or decade, people involved, main characteristics and functions. Everything mentioned in the text here in this table. So take a screenshot for it and write it in your student book. Okay, have you finished? Let's go to the second part. Okay. Have you finished يا شباب؟
ايوه يا استاذ.
Okay. The second part. This chart has a total of 9 rows. هنا موجود 9 أسطر يا شباب. بالرغم من although the book have only 4. الكتاب فيه فقط 4 صفوف ولكن هنا فيه 9 صفوف. 4 more or 5 more than the one shown on the page. هناك فيه 5 زيادة عما هو موجود في صفحة كتاب الطالب. Ask students to either use each row of 4 for 2 items or add rows. Right? Okay. Here, some questions. Did you find any new information in the article? هل كانت هناك أي معلومات جديدة عليك لم تسمعها من قبل في النص؟ What did you learn? وماذا تعلمت? Read the article again and decide what the focus topic of each paragraph is. ما هو الفوكس or topic؟ ما هو موضوع كل paragraph؟ So number 1 is introducing the article theme remote control. بيقوم بالتقديم أو التعريف بجهاز التحكم عن بعد. Number 2, paragraph number 2 is early examples of remote control. الأجهزة التحكم الأولية. Number 3, in paragraph number 3, this paragraph, early television remote control, the first television remote control. أول جهاز تلفزيون يعمل بجهاز التحكم. The fourth paragraph is talking about more sophisticated remote control 17 onwards. The last one, paragraph number 5, developments in the 20,000 universal remote controls, أجهزة التحكم العالمية. Okay? Okay. Now, I have a picture here. This photo, what can you see there? What can you see in this photo يا شباب؟ إيش الموجود؟ Can you describe? Who can describe what is in the photo? What is there? Can you describe what is this? What happened? يا شباب. Number 1. Look at the picture of Kontiki. Does it remind you of a contemporary sailboat that you have seen in the picture or in real life? هل تذكرك بمركب أو قارب في الحياة الحقيقية in real life? You see? ثمود بعض الأخشاب التي تطفو فوق المياه. Find out. اكتشف about Kontiki, this man, or choose another vessel. What is the meaning of vessel? الوعاء أو المركب أو القارب أو الزورق. vessel well-known voyage or expedition. Use the internet. يمكن أن تستخدم الإنترنت للاطلاع على معلومات أكثر. Or search the information in your school library. في مكتبة المدرسة. طبعا we are learning. تعلم عن بعد. لا توجد مكتبة هنا ولكن توجد على كتب على الإنترنت. To find out as much as information on your chosen subject as you can. هنتصفح الإنترنت يا شباب للحصول على معلومات أكثر. Okay. Make notes in the chart. هنقوم بتدوين الملاحظات في الجدول. Use your notes to write short description. هنقوم بعمل short description وصف قصير of your vessel للزورق أو القارب voyage expedition. A model of coin, for example. A model of Kon-Tiki, the boat used by Norwegian explorer مستكشف نرويجي for hydrology to provide that the pre-Inca people could have sailed from South America to the islands in the Pacific. يسافر لكي يثبت أن الناس تسافر have sailed from South America من أمريكا الجنوبية to the islands of the Pacific إلى جزر المحيط الهادي. Okay? Okay, how many minutes remaining? 2 minutes. Okay, until this point, we will stop. Tomorrow, inshallah, we'll continue. Thank you so much for